We already live in a world where it's easy for us to say, why is this so expensive? And now you thinking about moving to Seattle, and is it going to be a good idea? Is it going to be too expensive, or is it going to be just right? In this video, we're going to go over the cost of living with Seattle and answer every question that you're going to need. So every portion of this video is just that important. My name is George Rodriguez with eXp Realty, and if you have any other personal questions, contact information is going to be down below, especially if you need assistance with buying and selling real estate within the state of Washington. The city of Seattle isn't going to be the largest in the entire country, but it's going to rank at the 18th with a population ranging around 750,000, and the growth rate is going to be at 1.6%, which is going to rank 14th nationally. But the overall metropolitan area is going to be a little bit bigger, so if you didn't want to actually live within the city of Seattle, you're going to have plenty of opportunity within the exterior city limits to actually get your city life on. Now, in terms of the financials of how much you can expect to make within Seattle, the average median salary is going to be at $100,000. This is going to be one of the tech hubs in the entire nation, so you're going to have a lot of corporations that offer a lot of ability for expansion and growth, especially when it comes in part to your salary. Seattle overall is going to be a very appealing area when it does come to the tech companies and the overall corporations that are located within the city of Seattle or the metropolitan area of it. The ability to actually be able to maneuver here is going to be a kind of impaired due to its traffic, but this is why they're having the Seattle Light Rail project. This project is expected to be completed around 2036. It is currently in some working, so you can use it if you are within Seattle, but the project is going to go from Redmond down to Lakewood, and this is going to be very appealing if you buy before this is completed because it's only going to increase the equity that's within this area. So you're going to have to pay attention to that because it's going to be coming out of your taxes. And we're going to go over those taxes and how this light rail is affecting you every year. We're going to talk about the housing within Seattle. That's going to be the meat and potatoes of this video where we speak about buying or renting within the city of Seattle. So what types of properties are you expected to find within Seattle? Honestly, it's all going to depend what part of Seattle you're going to live in. Now, for example, if you're going to be living within Capitol Hill, you're going to have the older historian homes, the Victorian homes that present the history and charm of what Seattle has to offer. And then if you're still going to be within Capitol Hill, you're going to have a lot of the apartments, the condominiums, and also the tri-level homes that offer the opportunity to have that city lifestyle. You're not going to find a lot of new construction in this area unless they've knocked the home down. So now you're wondering, hey, George, how much do I have to spend to get into Seattle? Well, your average median sale price to get into Seattle is going to be at $831,000. Is there going to be more opportunities beneath? Yes, but of course, that's going to be on the type of property you're looking for and how much work you're going to want to spend to get it up to the standard in which you're trying to achieve. And I know what you're thinking. You're like, $831,000? Child, please. Luckily for you, property taxes within the state of Washington don't even rank in the top 20 in the country. We actually rank at 23rd at 0.92%. But then, of course, we'll have those in the comment section. But dude, you live in King County. Chill. If we ranked King County in the country, we would still be tied at 19th with Minnesota. So I'm going to save all that taxes stuff for later in the video. So we are doing a housing market overview. So let's talk about the current mortgage rate. So at the time of this recording, I'm going to pull up the mortgage rates you're going to be looking to pay at. Rates are down. You're going to have a 6.33% on a conventional loan for a 30-year. A 30-year FHA is going to be at 5.66, and a 30-year VA is going to be at 5.41% on a 30-year mortgage. Let's talk about a compelling subject, and that's going to be renting in this area. Now, I want to bring this up to you because it is going to determine on what you're going to be thinking of in terms of the location. So, of course, think about it this way. The closer you are to the city, the less you're going to get for your money. The further away it is, the more you're going to get. Makes simple sense, yeah? So in terms of what you're going to be paying, I'm going to turn my head this way. When it comes to Seattle rental market price averages, you're looking at a studio on average at $1,483, a one bed at $2,245, a two bed at $3,266. Oof. Now, think of it this way. Like I said before, comparison. Further in, less you get. Further out, more you get. Now, in this area, you are going to have the opportunity to have a co-living. And for those that are familiar within the rental markets of LA, New York City, even like a San Diego, you are going to have co-living opportunities where you're going to be able to rent a certain portion of a room and actually split the rent and cost with your prospective friend or tenant. So that's how it's going to work for opportunities to live within the city when you can't maybe not afford the entire portion of your rent. So now you're wondering, neighborhood breakdown. Tell me where to live, George. Where do I go? Well, I have another video here where I put my top 5 places to actually live. I'll go ahead and link that right here to actually assist you in making your decision of where you want to live a little bit better. Of course, if you want some quick ones, you can have Magnolia, Queen Anne, Capitol Hill, Fremont, Ballard, South Lake Union, a lot of places in East Seattle. You have a lot of opportunities here to choose. But of course, think of it this way. If you have more of a family, you're going to, in my personal opinion, not say you can't live in the city and have a family, you're going to be more on the exterior portions of the Seattle area because you're going to have more space, more room for yourself to breathe and, more prospectively, your children to breathe. And that's very important because I have kids and a son on the way. But George, you just gave us all of these locations, but how much do these locations cost? Well, think of it this way. Like I always say, location is paramount in life, okay? When you're in a location that is more desirable, it's going to be a little bit more. When it comes to Queen Anne and Magnolia, you're looking at a minimum average sale price at pretty close to $1 million. Now, Seattle is going to follow the 831,000 mark, and a lot of other locations are going to be very near that portion. But again, this all comes down to how much you're willing to pay. And we are just going to give you the actual payment breakdowns to assist you in that question. Projected payments, everyone's favorite numbers to take a look at. I'm going to give you the crystal ball, the ballpark estimate in terms of what you're going to be expected to pay when it comes to the $831,000 average median sale in Seattle. Now, we're going to offer 2 scenarios. They're both going to be a conventional loan. First is going to be a 3% down, and the next one's going to be a 20% down. Let's just say either you have that much money stockpiled or you sold your property somewhere else and you're going to be moving into Seattle. So I'm going to take a look this way and give you these projected numbers to help assist you. Now, your payment breakdown for an $831,000 purchase for a conventional, a 3% down is going to be $24,930. Your property taxes in King County are going to be at 0.105, and that's going to come up to $8,726 on an annual basis. That will be divided up into 12. Now, your home insurance is going to be, let's just say $150. Yes, you can go ahead and shop that rate when you're going to go purchase or even after. So if you can find something cheaper and it just fits with what you want, good job. Now, your PMI is going to be at $658. Now, you're going to have to pay PMI because you're not going to have that 20% loan to value ratio because you're doing a 3% down. Now, your 6.33% interest rate to go ahead and follow the current market averages at the time of this recording, your payment is going to be at $6,654. Now, let's go to scenario B. Scenario B, you're going to be looking at the same purchase price, but with your 20% down, you're going to be looking at $166,200. Property taxes 0.105 for King County. Home insurance is going to be kept the same, and same thing with the 6.33% interest rate. You are not going to be paying a PMI on scenario B because this time you're putting 20% down, so you're going to have that 20% loan to value ratio. Your payment is going to be at $5,118. Now, if you are looking to have like a transitionary loan or period to actually move forward, you just have to be communicative with your lending option, as well as if you need other facilitators in terms of just more opportunities to get lending and funding, go ahead and contact me. As you always know, as earlier in the video, contact information is down below if you need further assistance to just getting the move just started. Taxes, everyone's least favorite topic. So the one benefit that we all in terms of Washingtonians can actually agree upon, because a lot of us don't like the taxes in the state, we don't have any state income taxes. So if you are coming from a state that had state income taxes and federal taxes, here you only get slapped once in terms of filing your federal taxes. So you're going to have an increased income potential. Now, as I stated earlier, then when it does come to the property taxes of our state, we don't even rank in the top 20 states in terms of income, in terms of property taxes. We rank in 23rd, and then our rate is at 0.92. Now with King County, you're going to be at 0.105. And in terms of the country rankings, you would still be tied with Minnesota at 19. Now, in terms of earlier in the video, when I did speak of the Seattle Light Rail, we are getting hit with RTA tax. Now, I'm not going to go into the math in terms of how much these tabs cost, but just to give you a good average, if you have a for example, I have a Ram 1500 and it's a 2015. I pay around $450 for stickers. Yes, the stickers on your license plate. And that money is going towards the Seattle light rail, and there's a big drama about it that I'm not going to get into this video, but we can all agree that RTA tax is one of the least favorite ones that we're facing. You are going to have a liquor tax, which is around 20% or so in terms of liquor purchases within the state. So that's another thing you're going to face. So I think it's 20.5. Now, when it does come to the King County taxes, you're going to have an additional 4.5% on purchases. So in terms of the state, I believe you're at 6.5% for state, and then King County is 3.5. So every purchase you have around 10% of sales tax that you're going to be facing when you purchase anything within the King County area. We're going to dive really deep in terms of cost of living and what it's going to cost you to move to Seattle. And I found a good calculator provided by Forbes that's going to allow you to put in your current income and 2 different locations, for example, where you're coming and going to. Now, I will provide that website description down below if you would like to put that towards your scenario. So I'm going to bring up the statistics in comparison for LA to Seattle. So don't mind me as my face gets brighter as we dissect this together. So when it comes to the housing cost overall for the category, you're going to be at 12% cheaper, but of course your home price is going to be close to 17% lower. Rent is pretty close to the figure I provided earlier. I don't agree right here where it says total energy. Personally, I believe you're going to be spending around $250 to $300 on the high range. So, you know, you can kind of take that for what it says, but personally, in my opinion, utilities, I would just shoot for $275. That's a good thing to factor in if you don't live here. Phone bill, yes, there's some taxes that are a little different, but if, you know, that's all based upon what you have with your current telephone provider. Transportation is going to be 4% cheaper. Gasoline, it says 4.95. It is a little higher in Seattle. Personally, I live in Tacoma. Right now, it's around like I'm diesel, so like $4.55 for diesel. But of course, just go to Costco. And then healthcare. This one's very big for a lot of people. Your healthcare is going to be 16% higher than LA. For example, your average doctor visit is $176.92. Now, if you're going to be, your percent change is 26.52%. If you have like an optometrist like me, you're going to be increased at 22.58%. That's a very good thing to pay attention to. And same thing, ibuprofen's 5 pennies more here, but your prescription drugs are going to be cheaper. One thing you have to pay attention to when it does come to healthcare is that healthcare is very differentiated by state, meaning that certain states have higher taxes to assist people with healthcare. So if your state, you know, has less taxes but higher healthcare, and that's one thing to look at. But, you know, that's to each their own. Miscellaneous goods and services. You have your whole milk, bread, and coffee and shampoo. Everything is more expensive in the state of, in Seattle in comparison to LA at 13% higher. So these are the figures that you're going to have to pay attention to in terms of cost of living, and kind of vary the two and see what, you know, is really important to you. The next resource I'm going to give you is from livingcost.org, and they do a really good job in breaking down Seattle and comparing it to other large metropolitan areas. For example, they have New York to Seattle, Phoenix to Seattle, Chicago to Seattle, everything side by side, so it's easy to digest. As well as right here, they provide you the rent for one person and comparing it all the way down. They do have one for families as well, but that'll be a good research to continue your study in terms of what the cost of living in Seattle will be in comparison for you. Quick tips if you're actually deciding to move to Seattle. A good rule of thumb, the more centrally located you are to the city, the less of a family atmosphere you're going to have. I'm not saying you cannot raise a family within Seattle, but typically you're going to want to go to the exterior portions of the suburbs to give yourself that family atmosphere that you may be needing for or longing for. Also, in caveat, your location has a lot to do with your transportation and ability to move. Wherever you decide to move in Seattle, I need you to pay attention to your public access lines, because depending on where you are living, it may be better to take public transit than it is to actually drive, because you may be on that stop and go traffic. So that is something also you need to pay attention to. When it comes to your public education, Seattle education is actually ranks pretty high across the state. So you're going to be in a good department if you decide to look up those statistics. If you don't have friends or family that's located in Seattle or Washington State in general, a good tool for you is going to be in getting in touch with the local real estate agent to assist you in terms of getting your feet on the ground running so you don't position yourself negatively when you actually get here. All my information down below, don't be shy. In this video, we went over the critical portions to help you understand the cost of living of Seattle, such as taxes, cost of living, rent, housing market overview, current mortgage rates, expected mortgage payment.
property types. We went over everything. If you need to go back, don't hesitate. Or if you have questions, don't hesitate. As always, you take care.